This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. 2 traffic accidents that resulted in fatalities in the country over the weekend leaves the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division investigating those accidents that have left 2 females dead. The latest occurring on Grand Bahama sometime around 10 p.m. Saturday. According to police, a 41-year-old female of Hannah Hill, 8 Mile Rock, was a pedestrian on Yellow Pine Street when she was struck by a dark-colored sports utility vehicle which was traveling south along that street. The woman died on the scene. Hours before, here on New Providence, a male and a female were victims of a traffic accident on Bahama Games Boulevard in the area of the Government High School. That happened shortly before 9 a.m. Police say a silver Nissan Bluebird driven by the male was heading south when the driver lost control and collided into the guardrails. The female passenger, believed to be in her mid-30s, succumbed on scene. The male was taken to hospital by EMS personnel, where he remains in stable condition. Now, these traffic fatalities pushed the country's traffic fatality count to 57 this year. Police are actively investigating. Well, these latest traffic fatalities leaving officers of the Road Traffic Division concerned. According to officer in charge of the Road Traffic Division, Chief Superintendent David Lockhart, this year's count far exceeds last year's count of 42, which he says is alarming. As police investigate, they are appealing to members of the public to drive with due care and attention at all times.
We're not going to say don't drink, but if you have to drink and drive, please find a designated driver. You can alternate on which night you drink and which night you drive, but we're asking you as best as possible, as much as possible, do not drink and drive. We're asking those persons who have to traverse the road, pedestrians, especially if you're doing it at night, to wear highly visible clothing. Bicyclists, we're asking you to cycle with the flow of traffic and try to stay on the side of the road as much as possible. Asking you to have those passengers seated within the bed of the truck. To have them sitting on the railing of the truck is a traffic offense, and we're going to strictly enforce that and report persons who we find doing that. Well, like I said, we're asking all persons to obey the traffic rules and regulation. They're put in place for driver safety, so we're asking you to adhere to them, the posted speed limit.
As the holiday season approaches, drivers are reminded to adhere to the speed limit, exhibit patience as you traverse the various thoroughfares, and be courteous to other road users. Now, this past Friday, the Ministry of Transport announced that it would soon launch a national road safety campaign aimed at reducing the number of traffic fatalities in accordance with the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety 2021 to 2030. According to Minister with Responsibility, JoBeth Colby Davis, the goal is consistent with the United Nations to reduce the number of people dying on our streets. To that end, on Friday, BTC mobile users would have received a SMS message prompting road safe usage. The minister is encouraging other telecommunication providers and civil society to partner with the ministry on the National Road Safety Campaign. Well, speaking of road safety, one thing Chief Superintendent Lockhart is adamant about is the new law that was passed under the Minnis administration that allowed drivers to cautiously turn left on a red light if there is no pedestrian crossing the intersection and no approaching vehicle from that traffic that has the right of way. But according to Chief Superintendent Lockhart, that's only where there is signage.
You know, one of the things that are going around that persons are maiming me for is the left turn on traffic lights. The law is designed in a way that you're only allowed to turn left where there are signs posted. I know that there's only one sign posted, which is on University Boulevard and University Commons. That situation is being addressed from the Ministry of Works, and shortly you're going to see signs posted telling you areas where you should not turn left. So those are more of concerns to us, because we do know that some traffic crashes has occurred for persons turning left when their light is red. They're not giving way to the persons who have the green light.
Chief Superintendent Lockhart says police will be cracking down on left turns at the red light, as well as visibility will be high on the streets this holiday to ensure safety of motorists. In other crime news, police are investigating an alleged sexual assault of a 28-year-old female working aboard a vessel docked in eastern New Providence. Preliminary reports indicated sometime around 1 a.m. on Friday, the victim, while out with friends, became ill, which resulted in a taxi driver being hired to transport the victim back to the vessel. It is further reported the victim was taken to an unknown location by the taxi cab driver where she was allegedly sexually assaulted. Police are following significant leads with respect to this incident. And the new international airport on Great Harbor Key is a major development in the broader push to revitalize the island and increase domestic and international travel. So says Prime Minister Philip Davis, who was the keynote speaker at a ribbon-cutting ceremony this past Friday. The construction of the airport had to be halted in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We promised to throw our whole weight behind developing and executing strategic plans which will benefit each island and address their specific and immediate needs. We pledged to focus on infrastructural development across our island chain. We set out how we would prioritize family island development.
The construction of the airport started back in 2019 under the Minnis administration. However, works were not completed until some 2 years ago. Minister of Tourism and Investments and Aviation making an announcement that this newly constructed state-of-the-art airport is the first of many new airports to be built throughout the Family Islands. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper says Cat Island is next.
This is the beginning of a very aggressive push to upgrade our airport infrastructure. We anticipate that over the course of our next few years, we're going to be rolling out several more airports across Bahamas. So Great Harbor Key is leading the way. You started something really special. And I expect the next 5 in no particular order is going to be Cat Island, Grand Bahama, Long Island, and of course Exoba.
The facility is 9,500 square feet with a 4,800 square feet runway capable of landing Bahamas Air's ATR aircraft. The airport will staff some 30 employees. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.